We ready, Janice?
We are recording there.
All right, very good.
You want to put ceiling fans on, you think?
Good evening. Welcome to the November 18th, 2024 Township Committee meeting held at 7 o'clock p.m. at the Municipal Building, 770 Coopertown Road in Delanco. Can we have a roll call, please, Janice?
Mrs. Patrick.
Here.
Mr. O'Leary.
Here.
Ms. Seuss.
Here.
Mr. Templeton.
Here.
Mr. Bartlett.
Here, also present, Mr. Schwab, our Township Administrator, Mr. Fox, our Township Engineer, Mr. Raymond filling in for Mr. Heinhold, our Solicitor, Mrs. Lohr, our Municipal Clerk, Mrs. Russell, our Deputy Municipal Clerk, Mr. Fenimore, our Superintendent of Public Works, Mr. Tilger, the Police Chief, and I feel like a host of others. Would everyone please rise for the flag salute? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the sunshine statement, please, Janice.
Please be advised that proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act in the following manner. Written notice has been mailed to the Burlington County Times and Courier Post and published in the January 4th, 2024 editions. Written notice has been posted on the official bulletin board of the Township of Delanco at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. This meeting of the Delanco Township Committee may be transmitted via live stream on YouTube video. The streaming of the meeting is not intended to be relied upon as formal public access under the Open Public Meetings Act. And if the technology is disrupted for any reason, the township meeting will proceed in person as an official meeting in accord with the official notice.
Thank you, Janice. First item tonight on the agenda, the announcement and introduction of the Delanco School Student Election winners from the 8th grade class, and I see the advisor, Mr. Tom Shields, hiding in the back of the room there. Why don't we have all of the 8th grade winners stand up at the front? We'll come down and swear you in to office. I guess we going down there? Oh, yeah, I guess we should announce them too, huh?
Yeah, I think you should announce them.
All right.
Can you do that?
Would you like to do that, Kate?
I'll do it.
Go ahead.
My name is Kate Fitzpatrick. Before I bring the students forward, I'd like to let you know a little bit about this program. The Delanco Women's Club established this program back in 2006.
Put the microphone.
And it was with Joan Hinkle, one of our founding members of the Women's Club, started this program, and she was on the Township Committee at that time and also the liaison from the Women's Club. And when she retired from the Township Committee, she handed that job over to me. And I have enjoyed doing this with Mr. Shields for a number of years. We did have to stop during the pandemic, and then we were having some construction here and still some sickness, so we put it off another year or two, but we're glad to have it back. So with that end, I would like to introduce the winners of the election. We have Mayor Stephanie Busso. I probably messed that up, Stephanie, did I? Okay, could you stand up and tell us, could you say your name for us? Okay, good. Come forward. You have to come forward.
Stand on up.
Deputy Mayor Kendall Gardner. Committee members, Ariana Alexander. Benny Bento. And Naomi J. Gayflor, committee member.
All right. Janice, please swear them in.
Well, before you can take your seat on the dais as a committee member, you have to take an oath of office. Okay, so if you open up your certificate, you'll see you'll have an oath of office. And then later on, you can sign that, and you get to take that home with you. But right now, I want you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name. Great. Do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. I do further swear that I will impartially and justly perform all the duties of the office of, and state your office, mayor, committee person. You're doing great. On this 18th day of November, 2024, according to the best of my ability. Well, congratulations, you can now take. Let's see, we have Ariana is here, Benny is here.
Yep. Stephanie's here.
Stephanie,
Right here.
Here you go.
next to the mayor.
Kendall's right here.
Here you go.
Right here. All right, Kate, Carolyn, Mike, Fern, we're going to Dooney's. We're leaving this all to them. All right? You guys are in charge.
Okay, before the mayor starts the balance of the meeting, I'd like to read a couple things from the speeches that these students presented to their class. So Mayor Stephanie, this is something that she had indicated. I'm committed to working hard to find solutions representing our wonderful community and bringing better factories and stores to this town. My vision for our town includes improving local infrastructure, supporting small businesses, education, and public safety. I want to make sure every resident feels valued and safe. I'm dedicated to fairness and accountability to making decisions that benefit the entire community. One goal of mine will be, if elected, will be public safety. Myself and my staff will be working closely with the police and the fire department to ensure they have the resources to protect the community competently. So that is some of Mayor Stephanie's speech. Deputy Mayor Kendall. I want every resident, young and old, to feel that they have a voice. Together, we can create a community where ideas thrive and every citizen has the opportunity to make a difference. One big responsibility I would focus on is land use. This means helping decide how we use the land in our town, like where parks, buildings, or new spaces should go to ensure they benefit everyone. I believe we should keep areas green and open, and we have plenty of places to relax and enjoy nature. I also want to represent our library. Libraries aren't just for books. They're places to learn, meet new friends, and try new things. I'd work to make sure our library has programs for everyone, whether it's fun events for kids or resources for adults. Committeewoman Ariana. I would be representing animal control, recreation teams, and environmental advisory. I promise to make sure that the animal control services have enough staff and equipment to pick up animals in a safe manner. I will help promote environmental advisory. We need someone that will keep the town litter free, trees and plants healthy, and our air clean. And we have Naomi, Committeewoman Naomi. Let's see. Another engaging event could be a tree planting day where residents can learn about the importance of growth and environmental stewardship. Families are welcome to join and will ensure that children are entertained with music, face painting, and fun activities. Another thing I would help to improve is the emergency squad and the fire company representative. As my focus, it would be ensuring the safety and well-being of our community. It's crucial that we support our dedicated first responders and the resources and training they need to effectively serve us. By advocating for increased funding for equipment, upgrades, and training programs, we can enhance their capabilities and responsiveness. And Committeeman Benny, one of my goals is to improve the overall well-being of our community by promoting cleanliness and safety, as well as increasing the green spaces and nurturing more trees. I want to make sure local businesses are supported because they are vital to our community's success. I want to create opportunities for growth and help our town's economy thrive. I will make sure that we have open lines of communications. I will keep the community informed about decisions, upcoming projects, and I will always be open to feedback and suggestions. So this is the Township Committee elected by their 8th grade students. So let's give them a round of applause.
Good job.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Committeewoman Fitzpatrick, and congratulations again to all of our 8th graders, and it sounds like based on their written speeches there, we're in pretty good hands here in Delanco after we're all done on this committee. So thank you all. All right, our next item on the agenda, we have a special life-saving award presentation from Police Chief Adam Tilger. Chief.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Township Committee meeting tonight. We're here tonight on behalf of the Police Department to honor 2 of our officers, Sergeant Jack Maloney and Patrolman Jacob Lusner. On October 14th at approximately 4:45 a.m. in the morning, they were dispatched to a report of a house fire. Upon arrival, Officer Lusner was first on scene and observed that the front of the house was fully engulfed. Within minutes, he was able to respond to the rear of the property and locate a victim who was on top of the rear of the roof. Moments later, Sergeant Maloney arrived on location. Working together quickly, they came up with a plan. Since there was no ladder available, they found a chair in the rear of the property, and they utilized that, where Sergeant Maloney stepped on the chair and was able to get the victim to come forward to him. Wasn't an easy task because obviously the ladder, it was only a chair, it wasn't a ladder, so they were able to get the victim down and ultimately get her away from the fire and the threat of danger. They brought her to the medics and the EMS for medical attention, and due to their heroic actions and quick thinking, they potentially saved the victim's life. So I want to honor Sergeant Maloney and Officer Lusner. I ask that you step forward so I can present you with a certificate for a life-saving award as well as a ribbon. Our officers, I can't be more proud of them. You know, it's time after time that these guys do heroic things and don't get acknowledged, but you know, this was a job that went above and beyond. So you know, we want to thank you, and job well done. Stay here because the mayor's going to do a proclamation as well. And prior to the mayor taking my place here, I also want to acknowledge our fire department, EMS. Also an incredible job. Without their quick response, they saved multiple other dwellings from also catching on fire that evening. So thank you.
honoring Sergeant John Maloney and Patrolman Jacob Lusner. And I'll read it here. Whereas those who dedicate their lives and skills to help others are among the most valued members of the community and shall not go unrecognized. And whereas Sergeant John Maloney and Patrolman Jacob Lusner of the Delanco Township Police Department have exemplified dedication and professionalism through the call to protect and serve the residents of the Township of Delanco. And whereas their timely response and actions answering the call in the early morning hours of October 14th, 2024 to a dwelling fire at the 300 block of Burlington Avenue did save the lives of the resident trapped by the fire. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the members of the Township Committee of the Township of Delanco, County of Burlington, and the State of New Jersey, on behalf of the citizens, do hereby recognize the dedication and heroic actions so unselfishly given to our community by Sergeant John Maloney and Patrolman Jacob Lusner, officers of the Delanco Township Police Department, and wish to offer our sincere appreciation for their unfailing service to the community. I have these for you guys. And I must say, this isn't Sergeant Maloney's first time doing this. During a house fire in help me out here, Scott, 2017? 2018? Not that you remember the date. Jack did the same exact thing. Victim trapped, and he went up and rescued. So thank you, Sergeant Maloney. Thank you, Officer Lusner, for everything. Here, she was the victim that was trapped in the fire. You want to say anything, Darlene?
One of the officers, he was so commanding that he made me come to him. He told me, now. He told me, put your feet on my shoulder. Do it now. Which one was it ugly? Which one? You gave me no time to think, and I did what you said. I think people to see me. Thank you so very much. I thank all firemen from all the departments. I think the ambulance attendants who knew what they were doing when they saved my life and intubated me in the ambulance. I say thank you and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Darlene. We also have a resolution 2024-142, honoring Delanco Fire Company and other mutual aid responding companies. Whereas it is the desire of the Township Committee to recognize the Delanco Fire Company, and bear with me, it's a long list of other fire companies here: Beverly City Fire Department, Burlington City Fire Department, Burlington Township Fire Department, St. Vincent Fire Department, Delanco Fire Department, Independence Fire Company of Mount Ira, Merchantville Fire Department, Mount Laurel Fire Department, Riverside Fire Company, Riverton Fire Company, Third District Fire Company from Bristol, Pennsylvania, West Hampton Fire Department, Willingboro Fire Department, and Delran EMS, Mount Laurel EMS, Elmira EMS, and Willingboro EMS for their unwavering smoke and IT conditions. And under the direction of Chief Scott Hamlin and Deputy Chief Lester Abrams, the company's timely response and actions in answering the call resulted in the saving of the neighboring houses, which could have been lost that day due to the high wind conditions, and all firefighters and EMTs returned home safely to their family and friends. Now therefore, be it proclaimed by the Township Committee of the Township of Delanco, County of Burlington, and State of New Jersey, on behalf of all the citizens of the Township of Delanco, that the Delanco Fire Company and the Responding Mutual Aid Companies hereby recognized and commended for their dedication and contributions so unselfishly given by them. And we also wish to offer our sincere appreciation to these unfailing heroes of our communities. We also have here the EMTs from the Land Emergency Squad, Chief Chucky Sweeney and EMT, I don't know her name. Samantha.
Thank you.
Thank you. And good to see you. And in case you, if you're before you heard all the fire engines go by, the Delanco Fire Company is also responding to another wildlife fire right now in Kingsford. So we'll wish them some prayers that they'll come back safe tonight, as well as all the other companies, and it looks like they'll be there for a long night. Thank you very much, guys, for coming out here this evening.
Last minute. Okay. Last minute. Okay.
You could quiz her on some invoices while she's there. Hey, Kate's here, you could quiz her on some invoices while she was here.
Yeah, right.
That's some good family.
Sorry.
All right. To those who are staying, thank you very much, and we'll continue at this time. Actually, we're going to need a motion to approve Resolutions 2024-141 and 142, honoring the members that we just honored. Motion by Mr. Olet,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Seuss. Roll call, please.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mr. Olet.
Yes.
Ms. Seuss.
Yes, and thank you, everyone, for your service.
Mr. Templeton. And Mr. Barton.
Yes. All right. Next item on the agenda is a special presentation, the 2025 Local Recreation Improvement Grant proposal for the Vine Street Park from the Delanco Recreation Commission. This is...
Face the camera.
That's a child friend right now.
Mr. McFadden. Mr. Lohr?
Phil McFadden, 410 Maple.
You can take the mic off there if you want, whatever's easier, so we can hear.
This time, I'm just going to do the presentation. You want me to close that door?
Yeah, I think Al's getting that. There we go. There you go.
As you know, we did a design for Vine Street Park probably 6 months, 7 months ago. I can talk about it if you want me to.
Put the other
We
mic
know
up
you
there.
can.
Took John's.
Don't trip there, Bev.
Okay. Again, Phil McFadden, 410 Maple Ave, Delanco, New Jersey. And I'm here as the chairperson of the Recreation Commission in town. About 6 to 7 months ago, we did approve and supply a design that we had our designer do for the Vine Street / Centennial Park. The cost that came in was a little unsettling for us. So we did some revisions on our plan. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Stephen Lohr.
Steve Lohr, 2800 Colgate Avenue. As a member of the Delanco Recreation Commission, as Phil was saying, we did a presentation to the Township Committee several months ago. It was headed up by the Township Planner, Scott Taylor. We are proposing, now that the Township has acquired the additional property next to the Vine Street Pocket Park, we were proposing a complete redesign of that park that kind of makes, use of the additional space in that area of the town. There are grant opportunities that come up from the state, and we thought this would be an excellent project for your consideration to submit for one of those grants, recreational grants. And as Phil said, he made the presentation with the initial design. After looking at the cost estimate and getting feedback from several members of the Township Committee, we went back to the subcommittee and we did a redesign of the park. I believe that in the packets tonight, you were given a redesign for Plan Alternate 1 and Plan Alternate 2. The Recreation Commission met earlier this month. We looked at the designs. We have endorsed Alternate Plan Number 2, which kind of eliminates the covered gazebo area and leaves it more of an open sitting area. There's some new table areas along the one side, and also there's some new trees that have been added to the design. I would probably say the only major change to the design is the sitting area. It's no longer a covered pavilion, which personally I do think it's a better plan because of the sycamore tree that is there. You won't have the wear and tear on the gazebo, and you won't have the upkeep or the maintenance. The cost estimate is also included with the plan. There is a 10% contingency, and we would like to submit that alternate 2 for your consideration to be approved tonight and then submitted for the next round of grant funding with the state. I will say, just want to note that this space is a focal point in town. It's Vine Street, Pocket Park. There's not a lot of open areas in that end of town. There's Gateway, of course, but there's really no other parks. You have Zerberg down by the river. You have all the street ends. You have West Avenue up by me. So this, and with the addition of that property next to it, this is an opportunity to really make that area of town really nice and create something special for the local residents. And also, that's a main entrance to the town. You come over the Delanco Riverside Bridge, you see Gateway, and then right as you make that bend, you see the park. So this is, I think, an opportunity to really create a really nice space in that area and continue our project and our efforts to help beautify the town and increase the quality of life for our residents. So if there's any questions, Phil and I are here to answer them.
Thank you, Stephen. Sorry, Kate. I just wanted to add real quickly, the arborvitae that were existing there that we planted with the tree grant program on the top on the top there on the left, along that fence line. Many of them died because of the surface roots of the sycamore
correct.
and it's shaded, so the ones that died will actually be replanted on the right-hand side there. And there is going to be, it's like a promissory note from the landscaper. He's going to hold off on planting them until this park design moves forward, hopefully in the springtime.
Correct.
Our hope as recreation, I think the recreation's hope is that we can apply for the local recreation improvement grant that is due by January 31st. There's about $100,000 in funding that the government, the state is actually offering for that. I think it makes sense for this park design to be submitted for that. Last year, we submitted the playground at the Field of Dreams, and we were denied that, so I don't think it makes sense to resubmit that. Considering we have this park plan ready, I think it would be advantageous of us to take advantage of that and submit since it is ready to go. And we were hoping to have this done for the centennial, which is in 2026.
Yes.
So construction would need to take place next year. And I think it's great that we removed that large pavilion there. It just didn't make sense to have that in that small area, and now to have the paver sitting area there with that little focal point in the center is a nice, nice design. So thank you.
No problem, thank you. And we continue to appreciate the committee's support and the Recreation Commission. You guys have really, over the years, have supported several of our projects, and without your support, these projects couldn't come, couldn't happen. So we thank you for that.
And for the benefit of the public and other folks, Mr. Lord, this was his Eagle project back in 2008, 2009?
2008, yep.
Okay, and the one section that was originally, I guess, just on Vine Street and the corner of Burlington, not with the added property that we currently have. And they had beautified that section of the park coming around the bend. So I'm glad to see that you're into the next phase for us.
Next phase.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I'd just like to echo what Carolyn said, and I don't have any questions. I just think that maybe the Township Committee, Matt, may want to do a motion to approve this conceptual plan so that they can apply for the grant in time.
Yep. Thank you, Kate. Mike, do you have anything?
What are the three red circles in the corners?
Or trees.
And how much was the gazebo? What was that going to cost? It was deleted, I guess, for cost savings?
The original gazebo cost?
I believe it was 65 or
Yeah, I was gonna say
70,000.
about 65,000. That, and just for that one piece.
Yeah, it's just that area gets a lot of bright sun, and when you briefed, or when Mr. Taylor briefed this last spring, probably won't make it across the street or into the park with your ice cream cone, and to get the shade in time, so let's just hope for a little more shade there.
We'll say that the sycamore tree does provide a lot of shade in that park when it is in bloom. There is going to be a table that is placed somewhat under the tree to give it shade. And the nice thing about this is that, down the road, many, years, from now, you just say that we don't put a gazebo. It may not be a square one, but, it could be a gazebo, something like we have a gateway,
I think back in the spring, during that discussion, there was talk of a fence along the Burlington Avenue side. Is that still in
Yeah,
this plan?
that's still in the plan. It's a low fence,
Yeah.
but there is we did discuss that, and we did think it was important to keep that barrier in, kind of keep, this park, I know it was mentioned at the last presentation that, it would be nice to see kids kick a soccer ball around. I just want to reiterate, that was never our intent to propose that for this park, was to, have active recreation, kids kicking a ball around right off Burlington Avenue. I'm not saying you won't have that, but that was not the intention for this property at all. But nonetheless, kids will be kids. This is one of the few open spaces in the town, and in case they do want to go kick a ball around, we did think it was important to have a barrier at the front. So that fencing is still proposed.
So that fence does does wrap around the curve up Burlington Avenue there, or is that?
It's along the front, it doesn't wrap around and go along the curve area. It's more along the front.
On the west side, the left side of the park, right?
Right here. It starts here. It starts at the corner of Vine Street in Burlington and continues to about where the sidewalk bends and goes towards the 7-Eleven.
We could always extend that if we found it necessary or it didn't
Necessary.
look great, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And the telephone pole stays?
As of right now, yes.
Good.
Yes.
That's a safety feature to keep the trucks from turning too tight around that.
Yep.
I like that.
If we were going to move it, we were talking about, what was it, Ballards? We were talking about that, but,
Yeah.
no, it's going to stay.
But PSE&G already provides a nice bollard, so
Yeah.
Yep,
Exactly.
exactly.
cost
Sure.
savings.
All right.
I just want to also mention, in the park, the clock is still in the design, and also the time capsule, which we're hoping to have in place by the year 2026, which, as all of you know, coincides with the centennial. Obviously, we're proposing the name Centennial Park. Delanco's namesake, 1926, was renamed to Delanco Township. So we're hoping to have that time capsule in place so that, community can, put stuff in it to open up in 100 years. We'll definitely be working with the local organizations, the Township Committee, and getting everyone's in the community's input as to what should go into the time capsule. But that's going to be, I think, a really nice project in addition to this park. That's a nice feature, I think, that this park has, and it's looking forward to that more than anything.
And these young kids could open it in 100 years from now.
That's right, 100 years.
All right. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any other questions for them? Any questions? All right. With that, I'll ask for a motion to approve the Recreation Committee to submit for the 2025 Local Recreation Improvement Grant with the proposal as presented for alternative number 1 on the plan prepared by Taylor Design Group. Number 2, sorry.
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
All right, motion by Carolyn, second by Kate. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll just, last thing I'll say, always gotta add that, Phil. No, we will ask the township planner to create a revised display board to put out in the lobby so that members of the public can come in and take a look at it
Great. We can get that on the website as well.
as well.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Phil.
Mayor, at your next, one future meeting, we'll actually do a formal application resolution. So you have to, that'll be with all the state wording on the resolution, so we'll have that on a future agenda,
Yes,
formal application.
and also too, as you can see in the information, this has to be submitted through the Sage portal. So who do you plan on having?
So Taylor Design is getting their estimate to us, and they should be handling it.
All right, Taylor Design, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Phil, can you open that door? I think everyone's just cleared from out there now.
Mayor, just something in consideration. Down at the Zerberg Waterfront Park, there's the placards, the sign for the construction of
Right.
that project. And maybe some version of that for this project could be mounted at Vine Street, just as
It's not a bad idea.
it helps, everybody knows what's going on and can see what it is and where it's going.
All right, Al, get the post hole digger
Yeah,
out and
go
start
ahead,
building
you
it.
can take care of that, Mr. Graybob.
All
So
right.
I just want to make sure that the committee is on board with whether we get this grant or not, we should move forward with this park design in '25 so we can put it in our capital budget. Are we all good with that? This way, I don't want to put the sign up unless we're going to do it one way or the other.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that because it is going to be named Centennial Park, and we do hope to have everything done for our centennial in 2026. So whether or not we get the grant, we do need to move forward with this property.
So we're looking at 200,000?
225 with the 10,
225,000.
with the 20, with the 10%. yes.
229, or no, 220,
Whatever it is, yeah.
yeah.
or if the grant does not come through, adapting what's there to accommodate the centennial activity.
That's not what I proposed. I proposed we do this park design. That was my proposal. Otherwise, you're spending thousands of dollars more to scale it down with the designer again. So let's just pull the trigger on it.
Do we want to do a vote on that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion if you want, Matt, that we move forward.
Kate, to the mic.
Oh.
We're not hearing you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would make a motion that we, that tonight we do approve this concept park as well as approve to fund it in the event that we are not receiving the grant. That may not be worded properly, but.
Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay, yeah. Roll call, please, Jen.
Okay, I'm sorry, who was the second on?
Carolyn?
Carol, thank you. All right. Mrs. Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
I'm going to abstain.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
No.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes.
Motion does carry.
All right.
Thank you, Recreation.
All right, meeting is now open to the public for any comments and questions. This is session number 1. If you have any comments or questions, please approach the podium, give your name and address for the record. Meeting is now open to the public, and there will be another session later on in the agenda in case you think of something to say later. Mr. Graybob.
Ray Bob, 1605 Second Street. I just want to thank you for being a part of Recreation for helping push that through. Certain people don't want to see anything in this town be nice, but I do appreciate the people that voted yes for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
Anybody else? All right, this portion of the meeting is open to the public. As mentioned, there'll be another session later on. Comments and reports with our, we'll start with our professionals, and let's go, Mr. Fox.
Oh, no. It's going to have to come way closer.
Yeah, I know.
Keep it coming. We got those new mics just for you, Harry.
That works. Thank you. I'll start off with the road programs. The 2024 road program is completed, but we still need the contractor to work on there's some ponding on 3rd and Union. When he fixes that, then it will be complete. The 2025 local aid, in your correspondence, you'll see that we received a grant from DOT local aid. That grant was for $233,420. We applied for $334,336. So we didn't get the full amount we were asking for, but we got basically what the towns are getting for local aid. That was for doing Newton's Landing Boulevard, and on that included putting curb along the entrance area where there's no curb on the right-hand side. There's Belgian block on the island, nothing on the other side. So we will be installing curb on that section and milling and overlaying Newton's Landing Boulevard. Also included was Edgewood Avenue, from Burlington Avenue to Delaware. We'll have to work that out with Richard and the Public Works Committee, because, again, we didn't get the full amount to do both streets, so we'll have to look and see how we're going to work this out with our local road program.
What did we apply for, Harry? I missed that first part. 3-something?
334, 336. So we're a little bit short, so we'll have to work that out on how we're going to handle that. The Zubrook seawall, the contractor has the punch list. I spoke with him late last week, and he indicated he's going to be out there sometime this week. At least his men will be out there to start working on the punch list items. We also discussed the rail on top of the seawall. It's not looking like it's doable at this point because of the bidding laws and trying to get the materials under one quote, get the installation under another quote. It just wasn't working out. And we, at this point, do not really want to do a change order to the contractor for reasons as I think most of you know. So we discussed it, and we're going to include the railing in the park project. So that'll go up during the park project.
And the timeline on the park project is we're hoping to go out the bids at the beginning of the year and have construction start in March.
Correct.
So the park fence will remain, the fence that's there now, the temporary fence, we're renting that from Capella.
Correct.
That's going to be moved to the sidewalk that's along the seawall itself. And then soon, the park will be opened to the public because they're going to be using it for the carriage rides. So Public Works is going to move it towards the end of the month.
Okay, great.
Got that, John?
He knows now.
He knows.
Also, I don't know if anyone else knows besides the mayor, but on that windstorm we had, the fence did blow over, and the contractor did come out and put additional sandbags on there and to stabilize it. So we should be in good shape now. The Babe Ruth and Field of Dream paths, asphalt paths, have been completed. They included we overlaid the Babe Ruth parking lot. We installed a 6-foot wide asphalt path that's handicap accessible up around behind the basketball courts over to the stands and also connecting into the skate park. And we also we installed another pad on the other side of the field so John can put the bleachers there and there will be less maintenance. Once bleachers are put there, you won't have to worry about mowing or cleaning under the bleachers. On Field of Dreams, we installed a path that's at the crossing of the driveway where the striped crosswalk is. It picks up there and goes to the stands on the left field side. And there's an area there that'll be reserved for handicap accessibility as well. And that is actually on your agenda for tonight, approving that contract. It was already approved, but it's formality tonight of going through approving that.
And you're satisfied with everything?
Yeah, I am now. He came back and did restoration. His initial work, I don't know what happened. I don't know if the crew was tired or they left early or what happened, but the restoration was not very good. But they did come back actually on Saturday and perform the restoration and took the excess material over to the Public Works yard. John met them and let them in the West Avenue field area.
And
So-
John and his team will finish as far as adding additional topsoil and seed whenever that makes sense, because right now it doesn't, to me, make sense to plant any grass if we can't water it. So
Yeah, exactly, and it'll give time for the field they put in to settle a little
Yeah.
bit, and then we can come in with some of the good soil that John has and get some
Great.
grass going in the spring.
perfect.
We'll have to do the Field of Dreams too.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll be doing that.
The 2024 CDBG grant, that is for the handicap ramp replacement project. We have the survey done for that. There's 15 ramps that we have surveyed. I feel that we should be able to get those all done on this grant. We're planning on going out to bid on that either the first of the year, first month of the year, or maybe sooner. We'll have it ready for December, but we can go out to bid. That way we can get prices in, we'll know what the budget number is, and the contractor can start as soon as weather permits in the spring to knock those ramps out. The 200 Ash Street, we applied, as you know, for SDSRF funds. We were approved through DEP. Then the next step is they send it to the agency, NJDEA, who has to approve it as well to allot the funds. They're the ones that actually give out the funds. DEP approves it, recommends it to them. They supply the funds. So that's where we're at this point, is we're waiting for that approval for the funds to move on with that. In addition, the RI, we will be giving you a proposal for doing the remediation work, as well as a cost estimate on what it'll cost to actually remediate the area. And as I believe you know, what the remediation consists of is we're going to actually excavate the historic fill out of the area and backfill it with clean fill. So what that does is it takes it off of, right now it's on a list, you're paying a monthly fee every year to DEP, because it's technically a hazardous site, but it's not hazardous, it's not above the residential site standards. But what DEP does is they charge you a fee because it is there. Once we do this work, you won't have to pay that fee anymore to DEP.
So my understanding, now bear with me because I don't know a lot about government. The soil, because they don't know where it came from, they automatically classify it as contaminated. Historic fill is considered contaminated. So they recommend that you remediate that, otherwise you do have to pay that fee. But it's not necessarily contaminated, it's just, they don't know the origin, so they're just gonna consider it contaminated. Is that right?
That's correct, but we did do a phase 1 and phase 2 that did come up with some areas that were, if you average them out, you're okay, but there were some areas that were hot that's going to be removed. But you're right, as far as the historic fill, it's just because it was filled in, nobody knows what it was, so they consider that automatically contaminated.
That's a New Jersey thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Harry, does DEP give EDA an estimate to those two different levels of remediation, or does EDA have a number? I mean, they have to have a number to come back with that they're going to reimburse us for, correct?
Yes, they approved
Some 200.
270-some thousand. And that, what they pay is they actually pay 75% of the cost. 25% is by the township or the owner, but 75% comes out to the 273,000 and change.
But they must have an idea of what
Yeah,
actual work's going to be required.
yeah, we actually gave them that estimate.
Okay.
We worked out that estimate for what soil had to be removed and how much soil would have to come in, and that's what they base it on.
Make it contact with no restriction.
Correct. Mhm.
That's what I seem to recall, but as you were going through it again, I was starting to doubt myself.
Yep, that's correct.
Was the DEA that second grant we applied for, it was like 35,000? Because we applied for two different grants, right? One was 35 and one was two something.
Yeah, it was the 273 was the HSRF. I don't know that, I think we did apply for another 35. I think you're correct on another
Yeah,
one, but we did
haven't
not
heard
hear on
anything
that.
back? Okay, so we're still waiting on that one?
Yes.
Okay.
The MS4 stormwater map is complete. I'm going to pass it over to John. We have a meeting on Thursday, so he can hang it up on his wall and do what he wants with that. The GIS portion of it is what the state is looking for. That's been submitted to the state. We have not received any comments back from them. But it's just a bunch of coordinates, and it's only something really the state knows what they're looking at on that. John's map will show every inlet, every manhole, every pipe, flow, direction of flow, and outfalls. So we'll be delivering that on Thursday.
And if you give me a copy of that so we could have that for the fire department's records,
Yeah,
that
we'll-
map and the shape file, that'd be great.
Sure, we'll make they're full-size sheets, and there's
Just a PDF is
7 or 8
fine.
sheets, but we can send you the PDF. On
PDF is fine, don't want paper.
Okay.
Okay. And what else? You have the boat ramp on here, that's the last thing on your list, Harry?
Yep, the boat ramp is, we're applying for that as well to the Army Corps. And we're hoping to get that over to them by the end of the year and get their comments on it, and we'll move on from that.
All right.
Make sure you get Richard your cost to do that, so he doesn't have a stroke when you send a bill. If you could, just in advance of that, please.
Yeah, I owe Richard a few proposals, so yes, we're going to get together
Thank
and.
you.
Harry, this is the boat ramp at the end of Union?
Correct,
Okay, like on the Delaware.
on the Delaware.
Thank you.
Yeah, it'll be, what we're looking at doing is well, we're applying for, I don't know what the Army Corps is going to come back with, but we're going to extend the where the asphalt is, out 30 feet with concrete, and then past that, about another 100 feet with buried gabion baskets, which are the stone wrapped in steel mesh, and they'll be sunk in, dug into the bottom of the floor of the river there. So it'll support, you know, the boats to drive down there quite a ways into the river. They won't let us go all the way out to low tide. So at low tide, you know, do what you're going to have to do, but that's just not feasible.
And for the public, the boat ramp is strictly for emergency vehicles and not pleasure boats.
At the fire company, we do have numerous rescue boats that do go out there for various water rescues on the river. And we do use the Union Avenue boat ramp, and right now it's a little sketchy at best.
For sure.
All right, thank you, Harry. Does anyone else have any questions for Harry?
I had asked Chief Hamlin and to contact neighboring communities who unfortunately on occasion have to use that for rescues, for river rescues, to provide letters of support and
Okay.
pass them on to you. So I or you can send a reminder to them just to circulate that and get that in your file for whatever questions come up from EDP or the Corps.
Yeah, our biggest hurdle is endangered species. Every time we do something there, they keep insisting we check out the freshwater mussels that we know aren't there, but every project we do, we used to have to go jump through those hoops.
All right, thank you, Harry. Let's see, Mr. Raymond.
I know Doug was here for the executive, and he reported on a number of items that was appropriate for the executive session. The only thing that I have to add at this point is the Brett Sickler municipal appeal was heard. That's the municipal appeal involving the Vantage towing truck that was being parked at a resident. Mr. Sickler did not appear, so the appeal was dismissed for lack of prosecution. I understand that Mr. Ruggiano was out there. He remains that vehicles still remain parked there. I believe he's been cited again, but at this point, you know, the township can move forward with whatever revisions to the parking ordinance that you know, whatever you guys see fit to do at this point. But the municipal appeal is done, and you're free to do whatever you're going to do.
All right.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone have any questions for him? Nope. All right. Go to reports from our township administrator, Mr. Schwab.
Okay, just comment, the 2025 budget proposals are due next week. I have a few of them in, so anyone who's not completed should make sure they do that so we can get started working on it. Be working with the new CFO and finance clerk to put that together this year, so it'll look a little different, but we're looking forward to get moving on that. As Harry mentioned in one area, but and as I advised you, there's three resolutions for awarding bids. These are for items that we moved forward to get the job done because it's been over a month since the last meeting, and we're asking that these be approved retroactively. They're within the budget. They're, as we've been reporting every single meeting, for new computers under state contract. We have the asphalt walkways that Harry talked about. We have a state grant covering that. 2 years ago, it was recreation grant. And we have the work, also part of the state grant, which is coating the basketball courts at the Babe Ruth Field. So those are all part of that. Plus you have the budget transfers, which are a little unusual this year. We needed to make sure that we have the professional services to get these projects done, which is why Carolyn pointed out how important it is that we know in advance what those costs are going to be. So if there's any questions in those areas. And then as part of the discussion area, we'll talk about the best practices submission and see if there's any questions after we go through that quickly. That's all I have.
All right, thank you,
And the
Richard.
stormwater stuff. I have information on that. Been a little busy.
All right. I'll go to the department heads. Start with police. Chief Tilger.
Good evening, thank you. I'll begin with our November statistics to date. So far, the officers initiated 8 cases. They've conducted 77 motor vehicle stops, issued 26 motor vehicle violations. They've handled 518 calls for service, which for the year brings up the calls of service for 9,909. And there were 4 arrests made so far. Since our last meeting, we've been pretty busy with officers having going to trainings. November 1st, Detective Lippick attended a child abduction response team training. November 11th, the police department in conjunction with the fire department did a joint security walkthrough assessment at FedEx. On the 12th, Detective Lippick attended advanced narcotics investigation training. On the 13th, Sergeant Epifano and Patrolman Malik attended the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office mandatory in-service training. Today, Lieutenant Warren began a 2-day course on Open Public Record Act. And 2 weeks ago, I publicly announced that I'll be retiring at the end of this year. And with that being said, Lieutenant Warren is scheduled to take the State of New Jersey Civil Service Commission's Chief of Police examination on December 4th, and results are usually out by March or April. So that'll be the time frame where you'll find out the results of his exam. And that's all I have tonight.
All right, thank you, Chief. Anyone have any questions or comments for the chief? Other than, I guess we can't reject your retirement, right, and make you stay forever?
Lock the doors, though, we can't leave.
Yeah, lock the doors. He has the keys to the doors.
He keeps reminding us about it, too.
Smartest guy ever.
Not that he's counting the days left or anything.
I think he is. I think he's counting the days.
I saw him at Vinnie's earlier. He couldn't remember how many left, but we'll go with that. Thank you,
Still seems
Chief.
too far away.
Yes. All right, Public Works, go to our Superintendent,
Yes,
Mr.
good
Fenimore.
evening. I think we finally got all the signage up for Hawk Island. I don't know if everybody saw it. The gate was installed, and everything looks pretty good. There's a lot of signage down there now, so somebody should see it anyway. We removed one tree. As usual, we're working on the leaf season, and it's, all the years that I've been here, I've never seen the leaves so dry. It's just like, when you go to try to put them in a pile, it just falls like snow. You can hardly even push them in because they are not wet. Plus, the residents are getting drenched with chipped up leaves when we go by. But this year, we're doing something that I think is the best thing that we can do. We got a street sweeper, and we've been cleaning up right behind it. Where ordinarily, all that debris would be washing down into the storm drains and right to the creek or the river. So, so far, we picked up 880 cubic yards of leaves. We made one pass, and we're on our second pass. So,
I saw the
Get 'em out.
trucks smoking today down the block from my house when it went by. I almost thought it was on fire. It was just the dust from all those leaves, because they're so dry.
when you take your pants off, it's everywhere. I can assure you that, everywhere.
Thank you for that.
Everywhere.
Thanks for the visual, John.
Everywhere. Well, you gotta, the guys dress up, they're breathing this stuff in, they wear scarves or whatever, and I mean, it just goes all over. And it's just like snow coming down, that's how, it's so dry out, we need rain so bad, it's just unbelievable.
The firefighters working on that fire right now would tend to agree.
Well, that's, I don't wanna say nothing, but that's one thing that I worry about.
Zip it, John. No jinxing us.
Yeah.
John, I have a question for you. So brush pickup is no longer, I think we ended that in October, right? So if people have like bunches of sticks and stuff, is there somewhere they can take that?
Yeah, they can bring it to the garage. Generally, what we do before Christmas, we'll send the chipper out, for the people. We do send letters out to certain residents that put brush out. We're just not picking it up, and then what happens, the leaves get all in them, and then it really makes it look bad. So we'll usually make a final pass in December. but you can bring it to the garage.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you, John. And our municipal clerk, Mrs. Lohr.
Right now, I just want to report, we had the annual rabies clinic on Saturday, November 2nd. We had a good showing. We did a total of 77 vaccinations of dogs and cats. And then I'd like for Mrs. Russell to report on some upcoming events.
Okay, Recreation has quite a few things planned in December. Saturday, December 14th will be the carriage rides at the park in front of the Duberg Mansion. Tickets are on sale now and can be purchased at Brown's Jewelers. On Sunday, December 15th, Santa will arrive at Gateway Park for the tree lighting. Gingerbread houses will be distributed at 2 p.m. and sign-ups for that are also on the website. The Best Decorated House Contest will be judged on December 21st. To register your address, please do so by December 20th on the website. So there are flyers in the lobby and there's information on the website, and I believe this flyer is also being sent home through the school for all the parents and guardians. So look forward to it.
Did you mention the Christmas Village?
Yes, she did.
Well,
I have it in
Santa's-
my report, too.
Yeah, Santa's coming and there's going to be a Christmas.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Bev. Township committee reports. I'll start to my far left with Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Thank you. And last month, I did mention about Hagatha, Delanco's troll. So there's a great article in the Beverly Bee on our Hagatha. And I think, Carolyn, did you write that article?
Oh, no.
Oh, I thought maybe you did.
I
But
think-
anyway.
I think Liz Manishep might have.
Okay, it's a great article, so pick up a bee and read about our troll. It's at the Vine Street Park, if you haven't seen her yet. Dysa Del Riv, their soccer program is winding down. Basketball just finished their free clinics. Games are starting in January. They're having elections on December 3rd for the vice president, secretary, director of fundraising, and director of participation and retention. And their next meeting is November 26th. I already explained about the mock election. The 5K run walk, that was on behalf of the Delanco Women's Club. I would like to thank all who participated. It was a beautiful day for a run or walk, and it was a successful event for our club. Retirement. I attended the retirement dinner at the Marion Caters for Sergeant Eric Hoffman, who served our residents for 20 years as an officer. It was a nice event, and Eric served Delanco well, and, well, he's already missed. I did attend the rabies clinic. This is another service that Delanco offers its residents. It was a busy day, so thank you to the ladies and the Public Works employees who assisted and made sure it went smoothly. 401 Creek Road, Carolyn and I met with professionals and Criterion on a Zoom conference regarding the intent to purchase the property. We're continuing to pursue that purchase, and we'll keep you advised on the progress. Actually, we have something on the agenda tonight. Recreation, we met on November 8th. Best decorated Halloween houses were announced. First place was 615 Mulberry Street, Bob Campbell. Second place, 14 Tiemann Circle, the Foleys, and third place, 211 Union Street, Amanda Streley. And as Bev said, the carriage rides are scheduled. John Brown's is the only place you can purchase those tickets. Santa and Mrs. Claus will be visiting Delanco at our tree lighting ceremony on December 15th at Gateway Park from 2 to 6 p.m. Vendors will be on site, so you can do some shopping, and refreshments will be available. Bev already mentioned that the Holiday House registration is open but not required for the Best Decorated House. The board approved the revised plan, which we saw tonight, for Vine Street Park, which will be Centennial Park. The basketball courts, as Harry indicated, have been resurfaced and the pathway completed. Very disappointing to see that the new courts were already egged and marked up with graffiti. Lucas Russell made his goal for fundraising on his Eagle Scout project, and he will be installing a new flagpole at Gateway Park. Seniors. The Delanco seniors met on November 12th at the firehouse. It was a great group. The speaker was Melanie Hazmi from the New Jersey Division of Consumer Affairs, and her presentation focused on senior fraud and protection. She spoke about the latest frauds and scams against seniors. There was a lengthy question and answer period, and many members present shared experiences with dealing with fraud and other suggestions and protections. There was the resident was here at the meeting, but she left already. But anyway, she came up to me after the meeting and actually commended Carolyn and Matt for posting what they post on Facebook to keep the residents advised of what's going on. So I thought that was very nice. I wanted to share that with you. Sewer Authority, we met on November 12th, the trunk line project. There's still some open issues with DEP for the final paperwork, but it should be submitted hopefully by the end of the year. The pump station is a work in progress. The main control panel is in, and they're still working on the bypass system. 989 Coopertown Road, the testing has not been completed. We're following up. Stylex, there's nothing new to report. 401 Creek Road, there's no new information. Discussions are still underway regarding raising the tanks at the plant due to flooding. The operator's report is on file. Surface aerators were purchased and installed in the secondary tanks to help increase the dissolved oxygen level of the effluent. And a resolution was adopted to revise the connection fees. They're now $2,412.02, actually $218.06 less than and that amount is determined as a result of a study conducted by the authority's appointed auditor. Administration. Matt and I met with Janice and Richard regarding administration and possibility of upcoming retirements, and we have more information on that to follow. I did talk with Jersey Professional Management Team about new hires. Library. I attended the vendor event at the library on November 14th. It was a great time to do some early Christmas shopping. I purchased some items and enjoyed visiting with friends and neighbors. They always have great events, so check their schedule. Check out their calendar. And the History Board, I attended the open house at Town Hall this past Saturday from 1 to 3. It was Salute to Veterans. There were no visitors, just the 3 board members and myself, and that was the last one for this year. Hunt for the Alligator Jr., some of that's been floating around Delanco for some time. Alice Smith will be presenting her program on the Hunt for the Alligator Jr. at the Riverside Historical Society meeting on November 20th at the American Legion Hall. And as John indicated, the Hawk Island, the permit parking signs have been installed for the residents, and the new fence and gate were installed with our rules and regulations for recreation, and it looks great, John. Thank you very much. And Mayor, that's it for me.
All right. Thank you, Kate. I'll go to my far right, Mr. Templeton.
Thank you. Let's see, I'll try to make this brief, move things along here. Back on October 22nd, there was a public forum hosted by or organized by Senator Troy Singleton. It was held down in Palmyra regarding Riverline safety and following the 2 accidents, 2 fatal accidents in the Riverline back in October. So there were many comments on the trains, mostly from Riverton and Palmyra, on the speed of the train between those stations and so forth, and a lot of public comment for, oh my gosh, a full hour and a half. Hopefully, transit officials were there, several layers of management, NJ Transit, and discussed issues that they've had with reliability of the service due to the uniqueness of the Riverline cars, that they're diesel electrics. So unavailability of parts and so forth, since the production line for manufacturing those vehicles stopped, and so they've had some difficulty getting replacement parts. Back on the 29th, there was a Department of Environmental Protection webinar, Zoom meeting on the renewal of the Coastal Zone Management Plan, and that's a 5-year renewal, and that's actually through the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration. Kind of a bureaucratic operation, but there was a survey that was disseminated, and as far as participation in different areas of the coastal plan, wetlands development, storm hazards, and so forth. So I completed that based on our experience here in Delanco, and that was all in online format. Shade Tree Commission met on the 30th. It was a busy week there. And handled a handful of actions and got that taken care of. I would like to recognize Wendy Flanagan, a longtime Shade Tree Commission secretary, and handled the agendas and minutes and administrative functions. Ended her, had to resign, and like to extend my thanks and appreciation for her service to the community, and hope that she can come back and she really did a nice job in that position. So, Environmental Board, and also during the Shade Tree meeting, extended discussions by both of those groups on regarding the state is requiring us, as far as renewal of our stormwater permit, to adopt a tree removal replacement ordinance that extends into private property. We have in the township, amongst several entities, Shade Tree, EAB, code enforcement, and administration, all have serious issues and reservations about this ordinance. And actually, there's a bill that's in the assembly right now that would basically eliminate that requirement, that DEP requirement. So I'm going to pass this on to Senator Singleton and our assembly people, and hopefully get this deflected and not have to deal with this. So that's the end of my report, but I'd like to, is there an opportunity now, or can I have my avatar over here?
Well, they have, right after us, they have their session, number 5. All right. Thank you, Mike. Mr. Olet.
I guess the beauty of going in this position, I can pretty much say ditto to most things other than the
And you have
commissioners.
before.
The county commissioners meeting that I attended last week, the hot topic was the election
What could it be?
and the voting process. And there were comments made by the public that were there, and the investigation, and the folks that are going to be put in charge of looking into the issue of not having enough machines for us to vote in a timely fashion. On that, I'll leave it to you, sir.
Do they have an audio or video recording of that on the internet at all? Because I would love to watch that. Just to be a fly on the room.
Unfortunately, they don't.
Yes.
The request has been made, but
I am sure, and I'll reserve my comment until I hear that. Thank you, Fern. Ms. Seuss.
Oh, that's it? Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
You were done, right, Fern?
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
I heard a lot of dittos in there, so I just wanted to, I didn't want to stop you.
No dittos here. Okay, October 21st, we had our project management Zoom meeting that we do every 2 weeks when Harry's not here. We meet again in 2 weeks just for project management update with the mayor, Mr. Schwab, and Mrs. Lohr. So Harry, thanks for that continued meeting. It's very beneficial to stay on track with everything since there's so much going on. The following day, we met with John to talk about Public Works and how that's going, how we can improve our processes. We do that, I think, every other month now. October 29th was the Joint Land Use Board meeting. It was about a 15-minute meeting just to approve the resolution for the 401 Creek Road application from the previous month. November 1st, I had the pleasure of attending Sergeant Hoffman's retirement party at the Marion with a few other Township Committee members, so we wish him well in his retirement. It was a very nice evening. As Ms. Fitzpatrick mentioned, on November 7th, we did have the 401 Creek Road Zoom meeting with Criterion and the continued efforts to purchase that property. And the following day, we had our monthly recreation meeting early to accommodate some scheduling conflicts. So that was a productive meeting. We do have our Public Works liaison now reporting with what's going on in our facilities. So I think that's super helpful, and that's going really well in his new position. So we thank you guys for that. And Kate said everything about recreation, so that's all I have.
So you had a ditto there.
Ditto.
Got it. All right. On October 22nd, I attended the 8th grade students mock election here at the municipal building, and as discussed, the winners are up here with us tonight. And that evening, I attended the fire commission meeting. Normal business occurred. October 26th, I attended the 5K run/walk, and congrats to all of the participants. It was a great morning and thankfully great weather. And then later that night, I attended the trunk or treat event at Field of Dreams. We had a great turnout by our residents, and all the kids seemed to enjoy themselves, as did us adults who were out there as well.
Some of us more than others.
Yes, some of us more than others. Nice job by the Recreation Commission on setting this event up and keeping it going, especially when some of the area towns canceled theirs. The movie on the field had to be canceled due to the heavy winds, but that was a good call by Recreation, just to keep everybody safe. October 28th, I attended the fire company meeting. Normal business occurred. October 30th, I attended a meeting with Delran EMS and Mr. Schwab to discuss a renewal of the contract since the first two-year term is coming to an end. November 1st, as Ms. Seuss mentioned, the pleasure of attending the retirement dinner for Sergeant Hoffman. I've continued to work on various items in regards to Hawk Island on the properties out there. And just when John thought he was done with signage, we're working on the trail signage for out there. So we have some feelers out for some pricing on that, and we'll get it ordered and hopefully put in before the ground freezes, if it ever freezes the way this weather is going.
You
John.
only have to install it. Matt did all the legwork, don't worry.
Yeah, you could do it in between leaf runs.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, this week got numerous meetings on other topics, and most important is the Board of Ed meeting this Wednesday night, 7 p.m. at Pearson School, and hope to see everybody there.
Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you for going above and beyond always with your role, especially with Hawk Island, taking the time to map everything out and doing the deed work and all the legwork that's going on with that property. I know it's hours and hours of time that we usually have to spend paying someone doing that. So thank you so much for all your hard work with that.
You're quite welcome. Thank you, Carolyn. All right, next item on the agenda, and it freaked the students out a little bit because they probably didn't know, it's the Delanco school students will give their reports. And we could start all the way to my far right, since Mr. Templeton offered her up first. And anything you have to say at all? You don't have to say anything. You could say as much as you want.
Holding back all night.
Oh, go ahead. It's okay. All right. That's fine. Some of us, when you get us up here, you can't shut us up. So it's perfectly fine not to want to say anything. And we'll just work our way down this way. Benny, you got anything to say? You just pull that microphone closer to you. There you go.
I would like to share that I really like the idea of the park over there, right next to the ice cream bar. I really like how you did that because as the years go by, like 2 years ago, kids really stopped playing outside. Like it really started dying. So I feel like that really helped the kids come outside more. Yeah, that's really all I had to say.
Thank you, Mr. Bento. The mayor goes last. We'll get to you. Don't worry. We'll go all the way to my left. Go ahead. If you have anything to say, just push that microphone to her, Carolyn.
What did you think about your experience tonight?
I don't know. It was scary.
We're not that.
I said that my first time up here, too.
Intimidating, right? A little intimidating, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to learn. Maybe one day you'll run for office. Probably not that, right?
I don't know.
You got plenty of time.
That's it. Well, at least you got to experience it and you see kind of what we do, so.
Yeah.
You'll learn a little bit.
Deputy Mayor, do you have anything?
Not really, but this was a good experience. Yeah.
Glad you liked it.
Yeah.
And Mayor?
I didn't really prepare to say anything, but I just wanted to talk about the school year so far, because like during September we started field hockey and soccer. It was a good season. It was like gonna be our last time playing for the school, so it was actually really good. And now basketball started, so I really hope we can see you guys come to the gym to support us as we play against other districts. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much to all of our students, and as you can see, we do, and as you heard from all of our reports, it's more than just attending these meetings twice a month, and that's how they lured me in initially. Mr. Jass said to me, Matt, it's just 1 or 2 meetings a month, there's nothing really to do. As you could see, we do a lot, and we all hold or held full-time jobs before retiring, or still are holding full-time jobs, so it's just stuff we do as a labor of love on top of everything we do. So thank you, students, for coming out this evening. I know you all have school tomorrow, and I think Mr. Shields is holding his eyes open with toothpicks back there. So you guys are dismissed, and thank you for coming this evening. And congratulations on your wins.
You can take your name.
And take your name tags and your,
And
we'll
students,
take your tag up there too.
don't forget to take your name, yeah, take your nameplate.
It's a congratulatory letter from the Women's Club, and there's a gift card in there.
Take your name card.
Your name tag.
Take your,
Right there, Benny.
Yeah, you can take
the
it.
name tag. In the name card, yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Bye. Good luck.
Oh, here's your agenda. Thank you.
Hope to see you up here in about 10 years, right?
Yeah.
We'll see you all at graduation in June.
June, yeah.
I'm sure we'll see you sooner, but we'll definitely see you there.
And Mayor, when Mrs. Russell and I were setting up for Election Day, Monday, the day before Election Day, the 8th graders were coming in, and we recognized many of them, and they recognized us, and it was interesting to note that many of them will be voting in the next presidential election. Many of them were already 14 years old.
It's exciting and scary at the same time.
Yes, but many of their 8th grade students will be voting in the next presidential, so that was very interesting.
Well, hopefully they don't have to wait 4 hours to vote
Well-
next time. Maybe they'll have that figured out by then.
Hopefully they will.
All right. And one of them left their things up here. Oh, Mayor out there. Phil, can you run this out to her? Or Chief, thank you. And of course, thank you to our U.S. history and government teacher extraordinaire, Mr. Tom Shields, for wrangling them all up here this evening. He's one of our treasures that we have at the school. So thank you, Tom. All right, we will go to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with a single motion. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes.
I would like to have ordinance 2024-26 and ordinance 2024-27 removed from the consent agenda, please.
All right. All right, they'll be removed. They could be discussed and voted on separately. Anybody have anything else?
Nope.
All right. Resolution 2024-143, authorizing the purchase of computers and related equipment and software from Dell Technologies and CDW under state and other cooperative contracts. Resolution 2024-144, award of bid and contract for asphalt walkways and parking lot repairs at township parks. Resolution 2024-145, award of bid and contract for Babe Ruth Park basketball court repairs and recoding. Resolution 2024-146, donation of out-of-service police equipment. Resolution 2024-147, 2024 budget appropriation transfers. Payment of bills, current fund, $1,522,763.85. Payroll, $255,671.53. The puppy fund, or the dog fund as it's officially called, $800. Unemployment fund, $556.20. Escrow trust, $3,102.95. Housing trust, $9,002.50. Approval of minutes from August 5th, August 19th, and September 23rd, 2024. Approval of business license 2024-49. Can I have a motion, please, for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Seuss, second by Mr. Templeton. Can I have a roll call, please, Janice?
Mrs. Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
Yes.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes.
I have a question, Harry. The basketball courts, when are they going to be finished as far as the gate and the enclosure for the porta potty?
We'll have, I'll get Steve Lennon work with our contractors to do that separately.
Okay, so that wasn't in the bid for the courts?
No, because it was in the bid with the courts, we would have been.
I gotcha. Okay.
So we'll have that done specifically. For example, talk to the contractor, who did the fencing work at Hawk Island,
Understood.
to do that fencing work, and we'll get somebody to do the other items as individual projects.
Okay.
We had to finish this first.
Yeah, I thought it was in
Yeah.
that contract because he had talked about what he was going to do,
No,
the paving contractor. So I thought it was in that.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
never
No
would,
worries.
never would have made it. And frankly, everything else being done is done on our dime. The
Yeah.
funds for the grant have paid for what's been done.
Yeah.
There are no funds left, so all the rest of it is done as our
No
master
rush.
fund. You authorized additional funds in the capital budget to finish the project for anything that wasn't covered by the grant.
Got it.
So-
Thanks.
That's next.
Okay. And we have approval of minutes from September 9th, 2024. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Carolyn, second by Kate. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
Yes.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes? Was there a reason that one was done separately?
Yeah, I believe someone was absent from that meeting, so it should have been an abstention. Doesn't
Does
change.
anybody
the
know who wasn't
outcome.
here?
Who was that? Let me see.
September 9th,
I think Ms. Seuss was absent.
Oh.
Abstain.
All right. Motion still
Abstain, yes,
passes.
abstain. That's okay.
Sorry.
All righty. Going back to the items that were pulled from the consent agenda, ordinance 2024-26, authorizing acquisition of property at 401 Creek Road, Block 2100, Lot 11, within the Township of Delanco. First reading by title only and set public hearing date for December 16th, 2024. Discussion?
Yes, on both of these ordinances. In looking at spending $3.5 million, I'm not prepared to approve this. The topic of purchasing the land at 401 Creek Road came up about 40 days ago here at a public meeting. And we, as the Township Committee, looked into it, have a subcommittee that did some research. But in getting the information, as far as the financing, I got a little piece of it at the tail end of last week, and then this evening in executive, I got some more information. But for me to want to move forward and spend $3.5 million of your tax dollars, I need to do more homework. And government normally works a little slow. This is moving at lightning speed, and I'm not prepared to approve this. Just as I like the idea of the park, or the Vine Street Park, or Centennial Park, of spending the money for that park, getting grant dollars to do that, that's one thing. But here, another 200,000 here, 3.5 here, we just approved, or the voters approved, 3.5 million for improvements to the school. That's got to have an impact across every household in our town. And for me, I may be a slow processor, but my pockets aren't that deep. So this is where I sit with both these ordinances. I still have a lot more homework to do on it, and that's why I asked them to be pulled so I could explain
Sure.
how I feel about that.
Anyone else have any other comments?
Well, I would comment in that we decided to purchase this property because the property is located between our Field of Dreams and the Newton's Landing development. And what was proposed for that property was not a use that the residents in that area cared to have. And so we did some research regarding the value of the property, and the property is actually valued over $4 million. And so we made an offer of 3.5. They, Criterion accepted it, and we're prepared to move forward with that purchase to save that land so that we can utilize it for the township or something different in the future, even if we rezone it for residential, so that there wouldn't be any trucking or any warehouse or any kind of business activity there. We may utilize part of it for our public works, but it is something that we can't sit on because Criterion was approved for their use. They did receive their approvals, and the residents raised a lot of concern, and that's why we're moving forward. We do listen to you, and there are a number of ways for financing this so that it's not going to be such a tax burden to the residents. But in the long run, when we saw how the residents felt, it made sense for us to do what was best for the betterment of this town. And I agree with that, and I will agree to vote for this ordinance for first reading only and for the public hearing to be on December the 16th.
And for clarification, nothing is getting approved this evening except the first reading and the public hearing on December 16th.
The authorization to even move forward. with
Correct.
it. Yeah, we're elected to this office to be a voice for the taxpayers. And we heard the taxpayers from Newton's Landing. I've talked to other taxpayers in this town, and I told them, you know, we're going to purchase the 11 acres so that a truck repair facility is not there and all those trees are not taken down next to a park, next to our creek and along a trail, and to preserve the quality of life, and everyone is excited about it. I understand it's a big purchase, but we're big people, and we need to do what's right for this town, and then we need to do what's right in the long run. You have a piece of industrial property that should have been bought out years ago that's next to a park and next to a home and backs up to a residential senior citizen development. Should not be an industrial piece of property there. And I think we have an obligation to these homeowners to preserve that land and their quality of life.
Right.
Okay. Anybody? Mike, you have anything?
Repeating some of the things, or I won't repeat some of the things Mr. Olet said, some 40 days ago, this came on the horizon. And our last joint meeting of the committee, this was something that was going to have a much longer timeline. There was a subcommittee of Ms. Seuss and Ms. Fitzpatrick to open public meetings restrictions, limitations, their conversations with the current landowner, and that discussion was stayed within those two. And some of the financial price of $3.5 million, and some of the financing or mechanisms We only learned about, Mr. Lett and I only learned about an hour before we walked in the room this evening. I tend to get into details. I tend to have a forward-looking approach to things, and I like to know what I'm voting for. Granted, it's a keystone piece of property, but let's do our due diligence and financially not put the township in a hole. The initial look at is a tax increase just for this acquisition alone for the Newton's Landing properties is something on the order of $160, $180 to $200 just for that, just a tax increase for that acquisition. There's some other financing and different budgetary methods, but that got nothing on paper to explain that to me. So.
There was paper provided to you. There was a.
No, there wasn't.
There was a schedule.
There was a schedule
There was
sent
a
to you.
schedule of what it's going to cost these people.
Yeah.
But no information came to Mr. Lett and I on different financing mechanisms or how we're going to pay for this.
We didn't have that either. I had verbal conversations with our
And
CFO.
I'm sorry, just for clarification,
and
the three of us, not just Mr. Olet and I.
Yeah, this is,
Well, let's vote on it. I mean, let's move this
but
on.
you have to realize that this ordinance is to be for title only. The public hearing is December 16th. So by all means, the public needs to come out so that you know what we plan to do. And believe me, this township is in a very good financial position. We do not go out and do things that would cause harm to the residents tax-wise. There are other means of paying for some of this, but I can tell you that this is a wise decision for Delanco Township. And even if we have to sell a portion of it down the road or something, we can at least rezone it so that it would not be an industrial piece of property. Rezone it for residential or something. So it is, to me, it's my responsibility to purchase this property to protect our land. I mean, and not only that, but do we want to tear more trees down? Do we? I mean, no. I think we need those berms. We need that evergreen there. And I think that this is for the betterment of our town and the betterment of our residents. I truly believe that, or I would not. I've been on this township committee for 22 years, and I can tell you, I do not make decisions that I don't feel are for the betterment of this town. And most of you know me, and you know how I vote. And I vote yes for this because it is good. It's a good thing for us to do.
I just want to point out that I have a financial background. I own a business, and I'm also a real estate agent. I like to spend money, but I don't spend money stupidly. And I took the time and hours of my life the past 6 weeks speaking with Mr. Schwab, speaking with our attorney, speaking with our CFO, going over the different financial aspects on how the implications can be less to the taxpayers. Can we take money out of surplus? Should we do short-term financing for 9 years? Should we do long-term financing? Yes, I cannot share that with Mike due to, or anyone else except Kate, due to the Open Public Meetings Records Act. But any one of you could have went to the CFO or to the administrator and gotten that information once you knew last week that we were moving forward, or even before that. Had those conversations, because that's what I did. I went on my own time and spent hours talking to them about that and did research about how this whole process is done. So just wanted to point that out.
And as I said in executive, I hate spending money, just in general. I don't want a tax increase. At the same time, when I saw these numbers, it means a couple less Starbucks a week.
It's like $1 a day.
Less than that, and to preserve something that should have been, as Kate said, preserved long ago. But again, we're not approving it tonight, we're just setting the public hearing date for next month. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to authorize acquisition of the property at 401 Creek Road, Block 2100, Lot 11, within the Township of Delanco, for the first reading by title only and set the public hearing date for December 16th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-26.
Second.
Motion by Carolyn, second by Kate. Roll call, please. Janice.
And that's 7 PM.
7 PM, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Mrs. Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
No, this process is moving too quickly.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
Abstain for the reasons stated.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes. All right, ordinance 2024-27, adopting First Amendment to, quote, industrial rehabilitation areas redevelopment plan, unquote, specific to Block 2000, Lot 13.04, 500 Creek Road. First reading by title only and set public hearing date for December 16th, 2024 at 7 PM.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Carolyn, second by Kate. Any discussion on the motion? All right, roll call, please, Jan.
Mrs. Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
No, because this ordinance is tied to the acquisition of 401 Creek Road, and they're tied together, so no.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
Abstain for the reasons previously stated, and this extends redevelopment provisions into other properties that were previously granted by the planning board. Abstain.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes.
And ordinance 2024-27 will be referred to the Joint Land Use Board, Planning Board, as required by law.
All right. Thank you, Janice. Correspondence?
Yes. The first piece of correspondence is a letter from the New Jersey Department of Transportation. Just, they have their annual DOT Local Freight Impact Fund grant. We normally do not apply for that. It has to do more with the larger roads and, trucking. And so we don't have that issue at this time. But the second letter of correspondence, previously mentioned from the New Jersey Department of Transportation, that New Jersey has been selected to receive funding for the 2025 Municipal Aid Program, Delanco Township Roadway Improvement Project for Newton's Landing Boulevard and Edgewood Avenue in the amount of $233,420.
All right.
And that is the correspondence that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. All right, meeting is open to the public for comments and questions. This is session number 2. As in before, if you have any comments or questions, please come up, approach the podium, and give your name and address into the microphone for the record. Mr. Weber.
Brendan Weber, 22 Ships. Question for the township.
Sir.
Why is the Field of Dreams sprinkler system running? 11 o'clock this morning when I rode by, those sprinklers were going like crazy.
It's well water, and there's a treatment for grubs that had to be watered down today, but it is well water.
It is well water, yeah.
I thought well water wasn't allowed either in the state
Sure it is.
Yeah.
to be used because of the water table going down.
Well, we had to water it today because of the grub treatment.
Yeah, they had a special
But,
treatment out there.
but they're being blown and closed, so.
In reference to 2024-26 and 2024-27, I was wondering if I could get a copy of them.
I think
Do you
they're
have my email? You can send a PDF or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Thank
think
you.
they're posted on the website also, aren't they, under ordinances, under,
Yeah, since they've been introduced,
Hey,
they will
Ray.
be on the website, but I can.
there you go.
You can have mine if you want.
I just came.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Do you still want them electronically?
Would you please, yeah.
Sure, no problem.
Because our homeowners are very interested in that, those ordinances.
Sure.
Especially 26. Now, with that 26, I know I was here when the company made their presentation, along with a number of other homeowners. With the trees and stuff, you're gonna have tractor trailers parked right next to the ball field. What's that gonna look like for the kids? That's the other thing too. I worry about the kids. You got a tractor trailer sitting there? That doesn't look right. The trees, we've got wild turkeys, red foxes, all kinds of other small animals, hawks, deer, you name it, running through those woods. And some of those trees are 3 foot in diameter. You don't want to lose them because we are here to protect our environment, not to just become a concrete jungle. And that's what this country's coming into, to be a concrete jungle. Delanco's got to look at trying to eliminate some of that. You've got a property right across the street from Newton's Landing Boulevard on Creek there. There's not too many properties left in this township that are, where we have woods or whatever. We've got to try to save some of those properties. There's other grants out there from the state, from the federal government. I've been out looking online. Go out and look. It might not 100% apply to it, but we can get it. That's the type of thing you got to do. You got to go out looking for money. That's what Newton's Landing's doing. We're going out looking for money so that we can help keep our costs down, as well as having the residents do some of the work. So I'm asking that the committee and the solicitor and the administrator and so forth, go out and look to see if you can find some of this money. Because the state's got money out there, you just gotta go out looking for it. They're not gonna hand it to you, you gotta go looking. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Melinda Robinson, 37 Pennington Court. I just want to, my property abuts right at the, the block and lot in question. I invite any one of you to come walk my property and see what our concerns are. It will affect my house greatly. So I just would appreciate if you would physically take a tour of my property.
I've been back there twice already, so.
Well, then you've seen my house and you can understand my concerns.
I've been there as well. Yep.
Scott Buke, 18 Pennington Court. Mr. Olet, Mr. Templeton, I've kind of recommended to the board and to the land use that they go over to the property behind the 7-Eleven across the street from Ott's. That is owned by Criterion, the same people that are trying to push through here.
I was at that hearing, so I heard
Okay.
your statement.
And when I said something about how messy it was, the planner got up and told me how wrong I was, that they're cleaning it up. Please go over and look at it. It is a shit show, okay? It is a mess.
True.
I brought up at the last planning use meeting, and I don't know the gal's name who does the recommendation, the legal stuff, and that I had talked to someone in Delran, where I lived for 34 years, and got real defensive because she's on both boards and Criterion's already in over there. So I think it's kind of obvious that they knew exactly how to approach Delanco. And you gotta wonder. I mean, you just gotta wonder. But you need to go over there and take a look at it if that's what you really want in Delanco over there.
You missed the point. We're looking for a process to understand the financing. Mr. Olet, myself, and the mayor, because of Open Public Meeting Act requirements, we did not have any of that information. I'm not going to spend $3.5 million and obligate everyone here to some unknown tax burden. I would understand that. That's why I'm up here, okay?
All right, well, I too am paying a fair amount of taxes for a lower cost home here in Delanco. And I'm not complaining about it for the services that I get, okay? And to the comment that was made, this never should have happened, is absolutely 100% that property all along the creek should have been kept green years ago. And I went to the Shade Tree Commission meeting too. And you've got to hear about the certain trees, and you've got to have 10 feet back from the drains, and you can't let the leaves go in there. And yet, you're talking about a pollution heyday going in there. So get Troy Singleton's butt in here, get anybody from the county in here and from the state in here. We pay for green space on our taxes all the time, don't we? Get that money in here. Get help, get relief. That's exactly as Ray said, find the money. It's out there. It's just the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Well, and different land acquisition funding cycles from different entities come around at different times. Green Acres, basically, the spigot got turned off a couple of years ago. The county spigot for open space acquisition got turned off a couple of years ago. Green Acres just opened up again. Applications have to be filed by, I think, February 25th in 2025. So that comes and goes as far as funding. We've done some acquisitions out of pocket. We've had some properties fall into our lap from dormant estates and so forth. So we get what we can when we can.
And also, it just seems as though that the land use just kind of like allowed Criterion everything they wanted. They basically waived and allowed them to give it. And even as the original application says, from 7 in the morning and 7 at night, but it's going to be a 24/7 repair facility. So I heard what you heard, and I'm looking into Criterion up in Astoria, New York, and you go on their site and you see what they have. I'm doing my homework. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buick. Anybody else? This will be the last call for this meeting.
Let me change the subject.
Just give your,
John Paisley, 44 Pennington Court. I received an email today from the township about street trees that have been removed because of some blight, and they wanted to know whether we wanted the trees put back. Anybody aware of this email that came out?
No.
no? Who did it come from?
Township, Jack, that was from the association. We have a member of the association working with the Shade Tree Commission to see if people wanted those trees replaced, then the Shade Tree Commission would apply for a possible grant. So the question was sent to those residents where the trees were moved. The township council here would not know anything about that. We presented to the Shade Tree.
That was your HOA that asked for that.
Thank you for the clarification.
That explains a lot. But again, we now understand that those trees between the sidewalks and curbs will be our responsibility, even though they are still in the right-of-way of the street. Correct?
No.
No. The sidewalk, sidewalk's yours, but not the tree.
The trees are the township responsibility, the sidewalk's going to be yours.
So
Yeah.
If a tree got replanted, that was the question that was asked, with the understanding that if that tree that is planted raises the sidewalk, you are responsible for it, because that's an ordinance that was passed before.
What she said, yes.
Yes.
Fine. Then
We can talk
whoever sent it out might be the trees that we replaced 10 years ago.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anybody else? Sir, come on up.
Nope.
Nope. You could go, sir, and then Al will go after. You're good.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Tim Kishler, 12 Harris Court and Newton's Landing. This is the first meeting that I've attended the entire meeting. I was here at the meeting a couple of times ago where the people failed to show up and most of the residents left. And then I couldn't attend the last one where it seemed like things just turned, just completely 180.
Oh, at the land use board meeting. At the land use board meeting.
Yeah, land use, different board.
Okay. So I'm not really sure when you talk about what. Usually I tell these things to Ray, and
Ray will tell you everything.
Ray comes here, but.
Well, welcome.
But I'm going to start coming. First, I just want to say I'm here in support of my neighbors that live on Pennington Court. I'm over on Harris, and it's not affecting me personally, but I don't want to wait until it does. You know, as people have mentioned, you know, different alternatives and different reasons. I just want to reiterate what someone said about the trucks there right next to a park. That's not really a good look, and I don't think you want truck drivers there with 12 hours on their hands with kids around. And also, in addition to losing the trees, it's going to be a tremendous amount of noise and pollution and light probably extending way past you want light blaring in your back door. And I'm sure, you know, not only will it affect the people's, you know, enjoyment of their homes, but down the line, it's going to affect their you know, the value of their homes, and maybe mine. But I'm coming here now. Anyway, thank you for that. The other thing, there's a problem with people speeding into Newton's Landing, and I leave out at Emery Way and Newton's Landing. There's a stop sign there. I look left, I look right, I look left, I look right, and I start to go, and somebody's coming right at me. For a while, there was a speed limit sign telling people what their speed limit was, but it didn't, from what I understand, it didn't record the speed, so you didn't really know. You don't have the manpower with the police department to have somebody sit there. I don't know if somebody proposed having a stop sign, another stop sign put at Newton's Landing and Emery, but that'd be a great thing. But short of that, maybe you could just move that 25-mile-an-hour sign, this gentleman moves the sign, right? a little closer, you know, so that it's not stuck there halfway to where, you know, to where I'm waiting, and maybe they'd see it sooner. And, you know, we can't control the speed of the, you know, the people that are taking driving lessons and the guy at the pizza and everything like that. But, you know, at least if they see it sooner, for people who would be inclined to, you know, to obey it, it might be a good idea. So thank you for your time.
Thank you,
I'll
sir.
make sure we address more patrols too, though.
And I think I could probably, I'm not going to speak for the chief, but I could probably speak for the chief. The moment you have an officer out there, they're not going to speed. They're going to slow down. So it's really about behavior correction, I think.
But if I can be honest, when we were doing zero tolerance, majority of the violators were residents of Newton's Landing. So when I tell the officers to go out and enforce, I expect neighbors and to be getting tickets as well. Not that we want to do that, but to address an issue, but to address an issue, we have to do it that way.
All right, thank you, sir.
Chief, maybe we can get
Harry,
that speed limit sign
You want
back
to look
out
into
there?
that speed limit sign to see if it's at the right location, or
We
you
can-
too?
We move it around as
Yeah.
requested.
All right, was he talking about, I thought you were talking about the fixed speed limit sign that's there
The
that tells.
trailer. Oh, he's talking about the sign.
Well, the
You
trailer,
want the
but-
sign moved too, the permanent.
The regular,
You had a temporary thing there, but.
yeah, the sign with the,
Throw another one up there.
right. We can take a look into that.
Put them every 10 feet.
Speed bumps next.
Yeah, speed bumps next.
All right, thank you. Unless anyone has anything else, Al, you were coming up before, weren't you?
Al, 1605 Second Street. I appreciate everything Mr. Temple and Mr. Lev doing, taking your time and seeing what we can do as far as funds for 401 Creek Road. The problem with it is the acquisition is not going to wait for us. It can move forward, and we can lose out on that. So my understanding is we want to save trees in the town. You're going to lose 700 trees if you lose this acquisition. The homeowners from Newton's Landing are here, and they're speaking on behalf of other homeowners from Newton's Landing. They would really like this acquisition to go through for Delanco. As recreation member, we try to do everything we can to keep everybody happy. And you guys were elected to do the same, you men and women were elected to do the same thing for us. This is an acquisition that really, really should go through. It's not just for us, it's for wildlife, it's for trees, it's for so much other things that are so much more needed within a town. Past township committee members have dropped the ball. As you can see, we have these concrete structures out here. They're still out there. Nobody's in them. Took up cornfields, took up trees, took up more roads we had to put in, more pollution's gonna be coming through. Nobody cared about that then. But now we're worried about one acquisition that's going to save 700 trees and stop a truck yard from going in there and dumping oil and everything else on the blacktop, gravel, whatever they plan on putting down there. So I appreciate you just wanting to take your time. I only ask if you can move fast. This acquisition, if we lose this acquisition, it's going to be detrimental to the town, not to mention the voters of the town. And take that into consideration when you guys are up for re-election. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
Okay. Anyone else? Going once, twice? All right, we will close this portion of the meeting to the public.
And
Did you have something, Fern?
I'd like to make a comment, or a follow-up comment. As far as, when I found out that we were moving on this, I did go out to the site. I went out twice, once today and then last week. And I did go over to Newton's Landing. I went down the pathway off of Pennington. I didn't go behind your homes. I didn't think that was proper of me to go, I guess. Trespassing. And then from the other side of the property. And then I came back here to the township building and I looked at the plans that the Joint Land Use Board had approved for that site. And the buffer zones and the wetlands, the 700 trees, Al, this is the first I'm hearing of 700 trees, okay? I don't attend the Joint Land Use Board's meetings, so maybe I'm at fault for not doing that. But again, these pieces of information that are shared here from the public help. But again, the finance part, I just need to get answers and to totally understand the full picture. Not only of the 3.5 there, the 200 for the other part, the school, you know, how's that all bundled together? What's the impact? And so I will do my due diligence, and thank you.
Thank you, Fern. And just to the comment about going out back there and looking at the property, I've only been out back there once, and that was during the Easter egg hunt when we were doing the search for the missing child. And even while running back there, you know, I was surprised to see just how close that is. You could look at a map, we look at aerial photos, look at plans all day long, and you could try to get some idea of what it is to scale. But when you're actually out there and see exactly what this is and how close these facilities are to the actual backyards. I was literally, I think it was behind your house when I was running past you there looking for the kid, and you're right on top of there. There's hardly any backyard until you get right behind that building and that property. So I definitely understand where you're coming from with that.
I just want to share something. You can laugh at me if you want.
Never.
My husband and I visited the property right after the Joint Land Use Board meeting. And we pulled in and we were looking at the warehouse and we were going to turn around and we saw 2 deer literally at the trees where the pavement was. And I looked at them and I said, I'm going to try to save your home.
And we're not going to laugh at you for that. We've seen the movie Bambi.
It's important. Wildlife is important.
And there are a lot of deer out there. You know, the night when we were coming back from Sergeant Hoffman's retirement party from the Marion, I was driving on Creek Road there, passing right past 401 Creek Road, and there was a deer standing right in the middle of Creek Road, and you've heard the saying, a deer in the headlights, just standing there, didn't care to move, didn't care that I was there. I stopped, I waited a good 10 seconds, and eventually it meandered back into the property. So there's definitely a lot of wildlife there, and you know, as someone who lives up against the woods and sees deer, fox, raccoon, every eagle, everything under the sun, I definitely want to preserve as much of that as I can. But there'll be more of that on December 16th at the public hearing. Discussion items, 2024 CDBG, grant project and application. Who's heading up that discussion?
Jennifer Harry.
I'll preamble it.
All right.
The next round for the Community Development Block Grant applications is due December 15th, according to the timeline. That's a Sunday, so it's either going to be before that or a little bit after that. So if the committee wishes to continue with the architectural barrier removals, i.e. handicap ramps, I think there's still some more that needs to be done. we would have to have a public hearing and a resolution on your December 2nd meeting. And then you would be authorizing the township engineer, Mr. Fox, to move ahead with that application. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Fox so he can comment on what's left. And because of the, what Delanco qualifies for, as far as, we don't have any census tract areas that qualify for community development, so we have to do projects under HUD regulations that would qualify, and one of those is the architectural barrier removals, handicap ramps, where you don't need a qualifying census tract. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Fox so he can talk more about what's left with, for our handicap ramp replacement program.
Do we have like 70 left or something total with the ones we have to redo?
Yeah, last year, we
Just pull the microphone to you,
received a
Harry.
grant for 75,000, and we applied for 37 ramps. We couldn't do 37, we can basically do 15 with that money. So we already have the ramps delineated, which corners don't have any ramps at all, and which corners are unsafe with ramps. We also have a numerous amount of ramps that in town that don't meet the ADA standards. There are ramps there and they're usable, but they don't technically meet the standards. So what I recommend is us to continue on with the plan that we had with the original 37. We're doing 15 of them in the spring, and then we can do another 15 of those ramps under this grant. And we'll sit down with the Public Works Subcommittee and show exactly what ramps we're talking about, and we can have the resolution ready for the December 2nd meeting.
It's nice when we do the paving, the ramps get done then under the paving contract. But when PSC&G does the roads, they don't have to do the ramps, right?
That's correct. When PSC&G paves, they don't have to do the ramps. When we pave a road, we have to do
Yeah.
the ramps. Now, that's some of the planning we need to do with the roads that we're going to be doing, because we would like to do the ramps when we do the road, as opposed to replacing a ramp, then we come in, we have to regrade the road, and the ramp doesn't work.
Right.
So we'll look at that and come up with a list of ramps that we would recommend to be replaced.
So maybe meeting the first week in December? Does that make sense?
Yeah, we have a meeting coming up this week, I believe.
Yeah, do you want to do it this week? We can do it this week.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to get it sooner than later.
Thursday's good, yeah.
So I'll be prepared to go over what ramps are still out there that we need to do, and then we can decide then.
We might have to make it earlier, a little earlier, because I think we only have an hour carved out, and then we have a 3 o'clock, so we'll try and move it up.
Whatever,
Okay.
I'm available. Yep.
Is that everything on that one, Harry? That's everything on that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It's the same grant that we've been getting, in past years, so.
We've been very good with that program, very successful, so.
Mhm.
Anyone have anything? Go. Everyone's good? All right.
So then we will plan for the agenda for December 2nd to have the public hearing, which has to be published, and the resolution authorizing the grant application.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item, 2025 Township Committee Reorganization and Annual Meeting Schedule. And everybody's packet, there's the schedule that Janice had included.
Yeah, I thought you did a nice job on the dates. I already put them in my calendar.
Yeah, I'm good with the date for reorg, and then, what's it, January 6th and 27th?
27th, yeah.
Yeah, I think everything's cool.
Yeah.
And then the next meeting, it'll be back on, and we can finish, talk about it more, work in the budget workshop dates, and keep that moving forward. And the reorganization meeting, I believe, has been discussed and will be on Thursday, is it
January 2nd.
January 2nd, 7 PM.
Yes.
So I will let all the board and secretaries know that date so they can plan their first meetings for the year accordingly.
Sounds good.
Good, thank you.
Can't believe it's 2025 in about a month, month and a half.
Can't come soon enough.
Yep. All right, 2024 Best Practices Inventory Review and Discussion. Richard.
Okay, as
Just wanna pull that
I've
mic.
explained many times, and as I went through in detail with what I sent you, the state has set up this process where they believe that they know the best things to do, and they then challenge municipalities to whether or not they're doing it their way. In many cases, it's simply, here's what the law is, are we meeting the law? And in some cases, it's what they consider best practice, which may or may not be what somebody else might consider best practice. But because they've attached it to the annual state aid, if you don't get enough points, you don't get all your state aid. We've been fortunate, we've not had a problem with that. I don't believe we have a problem with it here. Janice and Bev and Julia, the new CFO, and Kate and I met. We went through this whole thing. You have all the details on it. So the requirement is that this be sent by us staff people, but presented to you so you have the public information, so it's on your agenda. And you can ask questions on it. What I pointed out is there are 52 scored questions worth 46.5 points. We scored 41 points with only 7 no answers. We needed 35 points to qualify for no reduction in state aid, so our 41 is plenty with that. And the things on here that we answered no to, one deals with whether we should establish a storm recovery reserve. We haven't felt the need for it, but our CFO feels there's no reason not to set it up, but it doesn't mean we have to put tons of money in it. So that's something we may discuss during this budget. We have a similar kind of thing with accumulated absences, for example. The budget only puts $100 in it, but if we feel we need more, we have that mechanism. So the idea is just to have the mechanism so that, say, one year we budget $10,000 for snow removal and we have no snow, instead of having that go back into the general surplus, we want to put a piece of that in there. So let's say the next year we budget $10,000, but we need $20,000. So instead of needing to transfer from other areas or do an emergency resolution, you have that to come from. The biggest negative is once you put it in there, you can't take it out. So that's money that could accumulate. We have a couple trust funds on employment. Thank goodness we haven't needed to use it a lot, but it's got a lot of money and we can't use it for anything else. It's money we have to keep putting in and we can't use it. So, you know, you have to decide on flexibility versus backup stuff. So that's something to discuss. We talk about they talk about public electric vehicle charging stations. Every year they say, have you put any in there? And that's not something that this community, represented by you, has said, hey, we really need this charging station. We haven't heard there's a demand for it to, you know, have that as a public session. The new developers have to put in the electric for it at all their various things. But are we going to put one here at the municipal building or Public Works or downtown or something like that? So that's just because they ask that for a point, doesn't mean you should spend $100,000 on something that's not needed in order to get a point for this item. They want to know whether we've submitted our shared service contracts. We have not. They're very few and we do it informally. So to spend the time, the legal money to create agreements for things that we've been doing with a handshake for all these years in order to get a point, we've not taken our time and money to do that.
Excuse me, Richard?
Yeah.
Does the street sweeper fall under that category?
Well, that's the only one that does. So because from now on, we're doing that. So yes, we would send that. Problem is, if I send that, they'll say, where are all the other ones? But that's another story.
Okay.
Well, then that's not shared until they pay us.
Exactly, that's what I put in there. I did say that at the end. Once Beverly City complies with the agreement we have on record, then we can send it in.
Exactly.
We have to submit our labor agreements, but they also require that there's a summary cost form, which is a very difficult form to fill out. They won't accept one without the other. Julia is going to a seminar on it. This has brought it up statewide. This is an issue for many municipalities. The state is asking us to report information to them that requires tremendous amount of effort to do and provides no good information. So the state likes to get this stuff so that they can do a statewide summary of something. So we have to put it in their format. So there's a group of finance officers that are working on that. And Julia's going to go to that session, and maybe she'll be able to put that together. She has the same issue with other towns she's the CFO for. They also, there's pay-to-play rules. Steve and Doug will have to get us an ordinance to fix our code, which needed to be amended last year because the state changed the rules, and we didn't do our ordinance to change the rules dealing with pay-to-play. It has no impact on us, but it's probably a couple of paragraphs in our code that need to be deleted or amended in order to be able to say yes for that. So we were going to do that last year, we didn't, so we should do it in '25, so we'll work on that. The other things deal with application background checks. We have to change our applications so we're making sure that nobody applying is disqualified for public employment due to criminal convictions. We have now changed our posting to a monthly basis instead of less than that with our previous CFO. The lead inspection payments, we did do all the paperwork on it. It's just in 2024, we didn't have any to pass on to the state. State wants its money, and we get it to them in '25, but we didn't have it in '24. We had to check that our vendors were not disqualified, and so we're not doing that. We're checking that. And one of the interesting things, we have redevelopment resolutions. We'll have to check as to whether or not the ones that have been adopted have been filed with the state. There's a process. My guess is we probably have, but we weren't able to say yes because that was before I was born. So, and any of the new stuff that we're doing now, we'll make sure that our solicitor and our planner make sure they get it up to them.
For them to have and just put on a shelf somewhere and do nothing with.
And then the state asks all sorts of questions about things that they don't give points for scoring for. They want to know what's going on. They take advantage of the fact we don't give them this information. It's as if we didn't file. If we don't file, we get state aid reduced. So they want to know all about our affordable housing, broadband internet service, state mandated lead inspection program, shared services, special improvement districts, which we don't have, and transparency. And most of them we say, no, we don't have, no, we don't have, but the other stuff that we have, we give them the information. So this is the report to you. We have to comply, so we get credit for replying. If anyone's got a question, let me know.
I read through it when to take a nap the other day. It helped me go to sleep, but it was interesting.
My most fun job in the year.
All right, anyone have any questions for Richard on that?
No, just thank you, Richard.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, every year I've been coming here, even before I was on committee, I heard you read all of them, and I think even before you were here when Steve was the administrator still, he read them. I think that was one of the first committee meetings I came to, and I'm like, oh my God, do they do this at every meeting? No, thankfully, no, once a year. Thank you for going through that and sending us that nice summary with the packet. And last but not least, the proposed stormwater ordinances.
Yeah, if I can, and Mike and I can talk about this a little bit.
Sure.
As Harry pointed out, the state, in order to give us a permit to allow us to empty rainwater that falls on our streets and empty them into the rivers and streams that are under the authority of the state. Remember, we didn't produce the water, we didn't produce the streams, but we have pipes going there. We have to have a permit for that. And as a condition of the permit, they can make us do almost anything. And over the years, they've added a number of things. Harry reported on the technical engineering, but we've done over the years a number of ordinances, everything from wildlife feeding and litter cleanup, things they don't want in those rivers and streams. That's the whole point. And so one of the things they don't want in the rivers and streams is salt, road salt. We have enough rules dealing with what we do with public works, but they're saying, well, what about businesses or even residences that have a pile of salt sitting there that they use to de-ice, and when it rains on that pile, that chemical ends up in the rivers. So, I mean, we cover it, so on, we have our rules, but what about, Dolan's Place or anybody else? So they were required to adopt an ordinance that controls how that's done and allows us to issue citations for people who don't store their de-icing materials properly. They gave us a sample model, which I dare anyone to have read it and understood it at all. So, you know, working with Ed and Janice, so when we looked at it and we kind of rewrote it. So I think that it's something that's reasonable, and we came up with a plan to have it enforceable through our business license process. Janice has added to the annual application, do you have this? If you don't have piles of salt anywhere, then we don't have to worry about it. Let's say there's a couple, three, those are the ones we'll go look at. So the goal is to do that, and I think we made it a little cleaner and clearer so that, you know, we can make this work. So that's one issue. If you're interested in pursuing that, you could authorize the introduction of that at this meeting. We have public hearing at the next meeting. Or you can discuss that further, or you can say we're going to wait until next year. What the state does, they have people who spend their day looking at municipal websites and clicking on ordinances, and they're looking to see who was adopted and who was not and what it says. And then we get an email saying, we didn't see it on your thing. So at some point, I got to get back to them and say, we've done things. It's possible maybe if we do this, they'll leave us alone a little bit, because the second ordinance is the one that Mike talked about. And our recommendation is that hopefully the state legislature will pass the law that'll make it so we don't have to do something that is kind of beyond what municipalities ought to be doing. And the third one is the stormwater management plan. They made us, 4 years ago, adopt a whole 25, 30 pager. Well, they made a few changes, so they want us to re-adopt it. But on top of that, or better, they finally came up with a miniature version of it, because most of the stuff we adopt is already in state regulations. So instead, they say you can re-adopt it and just reference the state regulations. So as they change, which they have in the last 4 years, it's updated automatically, so we don't have to redo that. We have two other things, though, we have to do is that we reference that if somebody, a developer comes in there and says, I don't want to have to comply with this stuff, but instead, I'm going to do something else for you that's equal in cost, such as, you know, fix some of our drainage issues. And we did a report a number of years ago, and that's inserted in our code, all those things. Well, they might not be what we want to have anymore. So if you adopt it as is, you're still stuck with those as alternatives. It's number one. And number two, our stormwater ordinance is in our subdivision code. So if somebody makes a site plan application, a major site plan application, it doesn't appear to be that they have to comply. So it doesn't belong in that spot. So, I mean, that's the easy part. We can figure out where else to go. So we need to take a little bit more time to get that thing done. So we'll do that. So those are the three things. The salt one, the de-icing one's ready to go. If you're ready to go with it, the tree one, I would just kind of ignore it. And the other one, we'll work with the engineer and the solicitor to try to finish that.
So the ice one, what do we need to do that?
We can just do it tonight.
You can authorize the introduction
Yep, that.
of the de-icing one that I sent you.
Be done with it.
All right.
And schedule it for December 16th.
Well, 16th, right, we can't do it that's right, for the second.
No.
Got to be the 16th?
Well, only, it would be nice to have it on the 16th, because the other two numerically are,
Okay,
you know,
all right, I was trying to avoid doing that, but okay,
you didn't want that?
because it's all at the same time. But no, let's just get it done. Let's do it on the 16th.
I think so, the 16th.
Okay.
All right, everybody up here good with that?
Yeah, I second it.
All right, so motion by Carolyn, second by Kate. Mike?
So that we are legal, we have to have ordinance 2024-28, an ordinance by the Township Committee amending the Delanco Code of Ordinances to add Chapter 249, Stormwater Management, a new Article 8 to regulate storage of de-icing materials on private property and providing for severability and an effective date. This is first reading by title only, and set public hearing date for December 16th, 2024, 7 p.m. No, you can go ahead.
what she said. So we had a motion by Carolyn, a second by Kate. Is that still
Right,
good?
exactly.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Sues? Yes. Mr. Templeton?
Yes.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody else have anything else for this evening? Is everybody out here happy with the sound now that we have these new microphones, new sound walls? You could hear us good out there?
I think we still need new speakers.
All right. Very good. In that case, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, have a happy Thanksgiving. Motion by Fern, second by myself. All in favor? Aye. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And don't fry turkeys in the house, please.